in a couple minutes. We're just letting everyone get logged in. I know with Zoom, it always takes a couple minutes. So we'll get started here probably in about a couple minutes or so.
Yes, and in the meantime, we emailed out a couple of worksheets if you want to be sure and have them handy. If you happen not to receive the emails, not a problem. You can take notes and we can email you the worksheets after the presentation.
All right. And you guys can see that slideshow.
Mhm.
Nicole.
Mhm. Yep.
Oh. We have a couple early birds. It's not even 11 yet, so that's great.
One.
Oh,
One here.
one, correct.
Depending on where they're logging in from.
We're bi-coastal, I forgot.
That's right. All right, one more minute and we'll get this going.
Yep, we'll probably wait until about 11:02 to get started, Holly, just so everyone has a chance to log in.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yep, so if you're just joining us, we're just waiting for everybody to log in. Check your emails. We sent out an email this morning with some worksheets you can work on, and just get comfortable. We'll start in a couple seconds.
Yeah, be sure to grab a pen and a paper so you can take plenty of notes. Just as a reminder, we will be having a verbal Q&A at the end of the session if there's any questions that you may have along the way. And if you don't feel comfortable talking, that's completely okay. We will also be providing you with all of our contact information so you can email us directly. All right, well,
just a couple more minutes, Holly. I know you're ready to get started.
Ready. Okay, for those of you that are just logging on now, we're going to go through kind of the announcements one more time, and then we're going to be starting here in the next maybe minute, 2 minutes. We're waiting for everybody to get logged on and get comfortable. I just first want to say welcome to Let's Talk Money, honey. We are so excited that you are joining us. Again, we're going to be starting soon. While you are waiting, be sure to look in your email and find the email that was sent out today. There's going to be a couple worksheets in there, so be sure and have them handy. If for whatever reason you don't have the worksheets, not anything to stress about. You can email us and we will send you the worksheets after the presentation. You can go through this presentation just fine without the worksheets. I do recommend that you have a pen and paper handy to take plenty of notes. And as I mentioned earlier, we will be having a verbal Q&A at the end of the session. If there's any questions that you have along the way, we will be more than happy to answer them. If you do not want to talk during this presentation, the verbal Q&A, it's no problem. We will provide you with our contact information and you can just contact us directly.
Thanks, Holly. All right, we're going to give it one more minute for any stragglers and then we're going to dive right in.
So Elise, while we're waiting, did you get a lot of snow?
We did. I'm based in Reno and they called a snow day. So, which usually it's because it's icy. It's not really that snowy. I think we only got about 3 inches at my house. But for us here in the valley, it calls for a snow day. So
it would call for a snow day in Arkansas. We don't know what to do when we start seeing white. We go home. We get a Walmart first and get our bread and milk, and then we go home.
All right. Well, I think it's time to get started. All right, Nicole, Holly, are you ready?
Yes, absolutely.
Ready.
Oh my gosh. Just went through all of the slides. There we go. All righty. So if you can't tell, we're a little nervous, so be gentle. And I'm so glad everyone's here today to experience Let's Talk Money, honey. This is an idea that Holly and I have been working on for several months now. A big reason why both of us became financial advisors is to help women become more active in the world of investing and also just be a resource for anyone looking to learn more about investing. So with that, welcome to our first session. As we begin the new year, we're constantly reminded of having January be a time to make resolutions and goals and intentions. So we thought it would be very fitting for our first webinar of 2023 to be all about becoming intentional with yourself and your finances. So a quick introduction. I'm Elise Levy, as I said, and I'm based in Reno, Nevada. I learned after spending many years working in the field of marketing that I wanted to find a job where I was helping people and making a real difference in their lives. So now, as a financial advisor, I get the pleasure of working with my dad and my partner, Mark Levy, at Legacy Wealth Planning, where I get inspired by our clients every day. I love getting the chance to help them reach their retirement goals and dreams.
Hi, I'm Holly Henry, and I'm from Hatfield, Arkansas. Not only am I a financial advisor, but I also own a couple of small businesses, and I have two wonderful kids named Ryan and Ace that keep me on my toes at all times. As a financial advisor, I work at River Valley Wealth Management. I love this job not only because it's challenging, but most importantly, it gives me the opportunity to help and empower those that are around me.
Awesome. All right, so what's the purpose of all of this? So today is really going to be about changing our mindsets and beliefs about money. Today, when you think of the word wealth, we want you to think of these definitions: the condition of being happy and flourishing, the state of being rich and prosperous, and happiness. When we think of creating wealth or becoming wealthy, we must remember it's not about appearing wealthy, but instead setting aside money over time to build wealth gradually. A lot of people misunderstand wealth as being able to afford this extravagant lifestyle and buy fancy cars and fancy houses and fancy clothes. But really, that's not what it's about. If we make $80,000 a year and we're spending $79,000 of that, we're not getting wealthy. But if maybe we make less, like $40,000 a year, but we're able to save $15,000, that is really how we build wealth.
So you see a handful of facts on this slideshow, and before we dive in, I think it's important again to touch base on why Elise and I started this webinar. So Elise and I talk on a regular basis. In fact, we check in with each other at least once a week, and more times than not, we discuss situations where we found women, more so than men, not understanding financial investments or not saving enough for retirement. Now, let me really emphasize before we go any further that this is a judgment-free zone. Anything we say here is not to blame anyone or to place guilt on anyone, but it's just for us to change the trajectory for the women that are not aware of their financial situations that they have. So we want to make sure that everyone understands the importance of setting financial goals and having long-term financial investments that will eventually lead to a financially free life. So let's back up and talk about what it is that particularly causes women not to save enough for retirement and why it is so important, specifically, again, for women to understand financial planning. Well, if you want to think for just a moment, in the past, and it's still really common today, that most of the time it's the female's job to be a stay-at-home wife or mom. Females are more likely to not pursue their career or to put a hold on their career to take care of the family. So in most instances, it's the male partner has been the one to carry the retirement account and the one that has just got accustomed to doing any financial investments. So we find that in most of those situations, the female is not the one that's typically getting as involved in investments. I'm not bashing any woman that has chosen to stay at home with their family. I would love an opportunity like that, but what's one thing that could become a potential problem from this if it's not addressed? Women typically outlive men, for one. An average American man typically lives to be 76, while a female's average lifespan is 81 years old. So typically there is a period in a female's life where she's going to have to figure out the finances on her own. So it's important that she's aware of what's going on in their financial situation. So here are some statistics that when I read them, I found it just to be staggering, and I wanted to share them with all of you. So women are five times more likely than men to live paycheck to paycheck. Women invest later and typically less often in life. And women are 2 times as likely to end up in poverty during retirement. The great news is that it's also been proven that when women invest, women are typically better investors than men. I like to think if it's because we had to pay to so many attention to details that's floating around all of us all the time. So again, as we go through this slideshow, I cannot emphasize this enough. We are not here to shame anyone. If you've had to stop your retirement or your financial investments, or if you've never even started, it's okay. Our goal today is just to equip you with the tools that not if, but when you need some basic information regarding financial investments, that you'll know who to turn to.
Awesome. Thank you, Holly. All right, moving right along, we're just going to really quick explain what our role is as financial advisors before we jump into these exercises. So the question I've been asked most since becoming a financial advisor is, what actually do you do? I found a lot of people don't know, and I didn't really know until I started doing the job. So as much as one person might think, I don't sit around and trade stocks all day. That's actually a very small part of the job. Our biggest role is being there for our clients, and this takes on many forms. We're cheerleaders when you need encouragement to set big goals and achieve them. We're educators. We want to make sure you're learning more about the process of investing each time we meet with you so you can make better informed decisions. And we're there to hold your hand when investing your money gets scary and when life gets scary. A lot of our job is just telling people that it's going to be okay. So why do you need an advisor? Well, just like a doctor who is there to maintain and check on your health, we're there to take care of your financial health so you can live your life and focus on what really matters, being with your family, your friends, focusing on your career. The second reason to have an advisor is, although money itself, when we boil it down, is just a piece of paper, we as humans can't treat it that way. We want to attach emotion to it. So having an advisor helps make those rational logic decisions when life happens, and it stops you from reacting emotionally because you have someone there to be a rational mind. So an important thing we want you to take away from today is don't wait for a major financial event to happen to get a financial advisor. It's really important to have this relationship in place for when those life events happen. As women specifically, we have 2 really big moments in our life where we inherit wealth and we have to make choices. The first is when your parents pass away, and the second is when your spouse passes away. And as Holly pointed out, on average, women are the ones to live longer. So that's pretty much bound to happen. And so having a financial advisor to help you through and make those financial choices is really important. Other key life events that can bring financial uncertainty, where it's great to have an advisor as a resource, can be job loss, divorce, health issues. So again, having that resource of an advisor is critical to your long-term success and stability. I think Holly's going to insert a little personal story on this for us before we move on.
Yeah, so as Elise mentioned, there are several things in your life that can happen that it just feels like the rug's been pulled out from underneath you and you don't know where to turn. And I found myself in one of those seasons last year. And it was one of those days I was trying to figure out, okay, who do I need to talk to? Where do I need to turn to? And immediately, one of the people that I thought of, I've got to talk to a financial advisor. I've got to get the answers to X, Y, and Z. And then my next thought is, I am a financial advisor, but I'm going to be honest. I am one that when I'm in those situations, I think so emotionally that I couldn't answer the questions for myself. And this is what I do day in, day out. And Elise, I don't know if like you get clouded with emotion during those times too, or maybe it's just me, but I'm very fortunate to be surrounded by a lot of financial advisors. I had plenty of resources. And in fact, I picked up the phone and I called my managing advisor, and he walked me through what I could, if it was any other day, make the decision to do. But during these hard seasons of life, and I think we're all going to go through them again, who expects of a loss of a job? Who expects an illness to come out of somewhere? Who expects an immediate family member to die? Who expects to go through a divorce? There's a lot that can happen that you're going to need to sit down with a financial advisor and discuss options. So it's important to have a relationship established beforehand, but if not, at least have someone that you know that you can turn to.
Totally. Thank you for sharing, Holly. I appreciate that. So circling back before we introduce Nicole, we have these 5 myths that when we sat down to kind of plan out this webinar, these were the myths we wanted to break because we hear them a lot and we're tired of it. But seriously, we want to break these myths and lies moving forward with our relationship with money. So the first is, I don't need to understand my finances. My partner handles all of that. Well, the truth is if you don't understand your household finances, you have no idea if your partner is managing them well or not. They may be investing well for retirement, but they also may be driving your family into debt. You just don't know. So even if your partner is the most fantastic money manager, you should still have an understanding of how your money is being used. And it's healthy for your relationship to have intellectual discussions about money together.
The next myth that we want to break is I don't need a financial advisor. There's an app for that. And I just want to be the first one to say that those apps are great. There's nothing wrong with these apps, especially if it's for short-term investing or if you're just doing it for like fun and trying to figure out the stock market. Again, like they're great. I'm not gonna knock them if you're using them for those purposes. However, they're probably not the best for long-term investing. So these apps, they do not tell you tax consequences. They do not guide you about wash sales or tax harvesting. They do not develop financial plans, and they don't give you guidance in how to invest. So again, although these apps, they're fun, they're convenient, if you're not proficient in taxes or in wealth management, then I would definitely recommend talking to a financial advisor instead.
Great. All right, the next one is investing is only for rich people. Investing is for everyone. Not only that, but investing is the key to ordinary people growing their wealth. Investing unlocks the secret to passively earning money without having to work more hours, get a raise, or get a second job. And you might already be an investor without knowing it. So if you are active in an employer-sponsored retirement plan through your job, you're probably already investing in the stock market. So you might as well learn about it. And then next time when you have an appointment to review that plan, you know what questions to ask and what to look for.
Okay, another myth is that financial advisors are so expensive. And I get asked on a regular basis, how much does it cost to hire a financial advisor? And I do think that this is such an important question to ask. So definitely when you're going in to meet with a financial advisor, ask about this. I don't want to deter you from that. But honestly, it's a very broad question, and this can be a very difficult question to answer in this type of setting, since it really depends on the type of service and product that you may be purchasing. While we offer products such as CDs, annuities, life insurance, or even long-term care insurance, those costs are completely different. So today we are going to be focusing strictly on investments surrounding the stock market. And even within that, there are different types of financial accounts that you can choose from. And the fee varies from account to account. And it's important to ask that before opening any type of account. For Elise and I, we are focused on helping our clients and work with people regardless of the size of the account. We typically charge a flat 1% fee for advisory accounts, meaning if you have a retirement account of $10,000, it would cost $100 a year, while the account is going on average 7% a year. Although with this particular type of account that I'm discussing, it also allows you to have an annual review where you sit down with a financial advisor and you go over your account. Typically it's once a year, but we have some clients that want to come in more often, and there's no additional charge for that. Also keep in mind that initial consultations, it doesn't cost anything. So it does not hurt to reach out to us and set up an appointment. And one thing that I'd also recommend, if you already have a financial advisor, there's businesses like Edward Jones or Charles Schwab. If you want a second set of eyes to just review your portfolio, you can reach out to someone like Elise and I, and you can schedule a second opinion consultation, and that doesn't cost anything. And we can just make sure that your portfolio is performing the way it should be.
Definitely. All right. And the last one. So if I only make X amount of money, then I will be wealthy. Going back to our first slides, making more money does not make you wealthy. Don't wait until you're making more money to focus on growing your wealth. Otherwise, you will just keep finding excuses to put it off. Remember, it is how we save and invest our money with intention that creates wealth. And that's really what we're going to be working on today. So now we get to do the fun stuff. All right. So no spoilers, but Holly and I are in total agreement that Nicole's section of this webinar is the best part. A little bit about how I met Nicole. I met her when we were both still working in the marketing field many moons ago. Since then, she has become a certified professional coach where she helps women like all of you find strength and courage to build the life you desire. Nicole has a light and aura that just instantly makes others around her feel more comfortable and grounded. I knew she would be the perfect fit for this webinar, and in the planning meetings leading up to this webinar, I've already learned so much from her. I can't wait for you all to get to spend some time with her today. Holly, would you like to share any remarks?
Oh, absolutely. So I met Nicole for the first time within just the last few months. And I can say after our first meeting, I initially thought that she's one of those people that you just have to have in your life. There's just something about her. She's so full of wisdom, and I hope that you get as much out of the presentation as I have. So Nicole, if you want to take it away from here.
Well, gosh, thanks, ladies. I'm ready to go home. Like, that was wonderful. The webinar's over for me. I feel but no, on a serious note, hello, everybody. I am Nicole Collins. I'm a certified professional coach. I started this profession because I have a true passion for helping women live their life rooted in their values so that they can experience happiness, joy, calm, and peace. Through coaching, I help women discover how loving yourself helps you know what you want and to have the courage to follow through. As a discover what exactly I partner with you in thought processes that will inspire you to maximize your potential, this deep potential that I know you have within yourself. Blast through those limiting beliefs that sometimes stop us from making the changes that we want to make in life so that we can live a more happy and fulfilled life. So to get us started, I'm just going to have a really quick centering section have you do is I'm going to have you sit down wherever you are right now, whether you're in your office, whether you are in your car, whether you're at home. I want you to have your feet flat on the ground. I want you to sit up really tall, good posture right here. And I'm going to have you put your hands on top of your thighs. You can have your palms up or palms down. I'm going to have you close your eyes right now. And this may seem a little woo-woo, but just go with it. Let's go ahead and close your eyes. We're going to take 3 deep breaths. So go ahead and just breathe in. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. And breathe out. And now, keeping your eyes closed, I want you to bring yourself to this exact moment. Anything else that's on your mind, set them aside for a moment and just be here now. I want you to release any fear or anxiety that you may be feeling, anything you're worrying about, your to-dos, your list. Just imagine a vacuum just came and sucked it all out of you, and there's no fear or anxiety left. Now, I want you to imagine how you want to feel this year, 2023. How do you want to feel? How do you want to go into all your experiences this year? Hanging out with your children, going to work, the holidays, vacations, folding the laundry, cooking. How do you want to go into all of those experiences? I want you to think of your values. What's important to you? When you think about being intentional with all of those experiences, what are you feeling? What do you want? What word is coming to you and sitting on your heart for how you want to feel this year? I want you to connect to that word. Imagine that word is a light shining on you, lighting you up, soaking into your skin, and you are embodying that word in every experience you step into this year. You are that word. Now go ahead and open your eyes. Give yourself a little shake, stretch it out if you want. But I want you to remember that word. So moving on, we're going to take a look at a tool I love to use called the Wheel of Life. You should have been emailed a worksheet this morning, so now would be a good time to go ahead and grab a pen. If you don't have the worksheet, that's totally fine. We can move forward with you just writing everything down on a piece of paper. So the Wheel of Life is a tool I like to use to create awareness around our thoughts and our feelings as to where we are right now, so you can create intentional goals and change to where you want to be. So using that word that just came to you during your visualization as your base, how would you rate where you are in all areas of your life that's on that wheel in relation to that word? So for example, my word of the year is slow. I want to slow down this year and be peaceful and present in all the different areas of my life. So when looking at personal finance, I would rate myself probably around a 7 because I started the process of budgeting last year, but I still have this anxiety that sometimes comes up to me when I think about my debt. So I'm trying to embrace the slowness of this process because, as we know, getting out of debt doesn't happen overnight. So now I can ask myself, what do I need to do to embrace the slowness of this process so that I can embody my word of the year, which is slow? So go ahead and take a few moments to fill that out. You can take your time. You can write it down if you need to. I'd love to know, Elise, what is your word of the year?
My word of the year is present. I have a really big year in front of me. I'm getting married. My sister's getting married. We're buying a house. We have a lot going on. So I'm trying to just be present in every moment and slow down a little bit and enjoy every single day.
Oh my gosh, yes. Congratulations. So many amazing
Thank
happening.
you.
Yes, you want to be present in those moments so that they don't just pass you by and you forget all about them. Holly, what's your word of the year?
So I actually had a hard time narrowing down to just one word, but I ended up choosing joy. And I thought a lot of it is because I have 2 kids. My schedule's jam-packed from work. I'm sure so many other moms, working moms especially, can relate. It's go, 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 go. And my kids are little. So especially when my son has my daughter in a headlock trying to pull her hair or whatever, it's moments like that that I'm just like, whew, peace and joy. It'll be a day that I'm going to be thankful that I'm just trying to enjoy it as much as I can.
Oh, amazing. Yes, it's maybe, I don't have kids, but I can imagine finding joy in those chaotic moments could be a little difficult. So go ahead and just keep filling out your wheel right now. But when looking at your wheel of life, it's okay if, for example, your health and aging is at an 8, but your personal finance is at a 2. This isn't a bad thing. It's just awareness that we're creating right now. But if you want your wheel to be more balanced, you can start asking yourself those questions. For example, if you get Botox, you could be saying, I love getting Botox. every 3 months because it makes me feel really youthful. It makes me feel confident, but it's also super expensive and it makes me not really be able to save money, which stresses me out, and stress causes aging, as we know. So what really needs to happen here? It's bringing awareness to yourself so you can answer those questions to make the changes that you want to make. But remember, with the wheel of life, this is for you. As women, we wear so many hats, and a lot of the time that leads us to trying to fulfill the expectations of others rather than fulfilling our own values. So in order for us to feel wealthy, which we talked about at the beginning, which is the condition of being happy and flourishing, the state of being rich, prosperous, and happiness, we need to have a balanced wheel because we are holistic beings. All aspects of our lives are interconnected and they all affect each other. And just like your car, your vehicle, when your tires aren't in alignment, the rest of your car suffers. And we need to make sure our wheels are in alignment so we can move through life smoothly. When we use our word as our guide, this allows us to create a wheel that is in alignment with our values. If your values are being honored, you will experience happiness and calm. And when there's a misalignment, you may experience dissonance or unhappiness. So now that we're creating more awareness around where we're at right now, you're probably wondering, okay, well, I'm at a 2 in this area and I want to be at a 10. So how do we make those changes? So for the first step, it's all about creating awareness. Give yourself time and permission to love yourself enough, because you deserve it, to discover what you want, and then having the confidence to follow through. You already started this process through your visualization. You discovered at least how you want to feel this year when fear or anxiety isn't present. So creating this awareness is a constant practice because things change every day. Our goals change. Imagine where you were 5 years ago compared to where you are right now. Like Elise mentioned, her and I met probably about 6 years ago now, 6 or 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we were in the marketing industry, and here I am now. I'm a life coach. Elise is a financial advisor. So yeah, things change and that's okay. But if we create awareness around what we want, it's so much easier moving into those changes more confidently. You can look at all the experiences of your life and at least realize what you don't want, which again is amazing awareness to have. The second step is giving yourself permission to want what you want. This is where the confidence piece comes through. When you discover what you want based on your values and you take action based on those values, life is more happy and it is more calm. At times, your friends and family, coworkers, they may not agree or understand your values and why you're making the changes that you are, but you have the permission to always honor your values and to take action to live those values. And it takes confidence to give yourself permission, but once you give yourself permission, it gives you more confidence. It's this wheel that just keeps spinning. So in order to do that, you have to go into step 3, which is just to take any action. Just begin somewhere. Using awareness that you created based on your values and this newfound permission that you've given yourself, you can pick a micro goal or a small goal to reach your macro or big goal that you have. And you can use a tool that I love to use called Aim Smart. So Aim Smart is just a tool that you can use to start with a small goal so that you can reach your bigger goals. So to start, you actually start with the M in the the I with the in aim. So that's your ideal goal. That's your really big goal that you have. So for example, maybe your goal is, I want to run a marathon. Okay, well, if you start right now, you'll probably end up hurting yourself or you won't necessarily succeed. So you look at your big goal and then you go to A in aim. What is the acceptable goal here? That's kind of where you are right now. So if you want to run a marathon and you're not running it all right now, that's not necessarily going to work. So then we go into M. What is the middle goal? What's a realistic stretch here? Where can we start? And so that is where we're going to go into the next section of SMART. So get specific with the first step. What is the very first step to any action, learning, or goal identified? So I'm going to keep going with the example of running a marathon. So if you want to run a marathon, the first step is probably going to be, well, I need running shoes. That's the first step, right? So then we look at measurable. For what you've listed in specific, make sure you have qualified or quantified the measure of success. And the measure of success can't necessarily be a feeling because that's subjective to everybody. So is it measurable? And then we go into achievable. Can you do this? Can you get new running shoes? Yes or no? Is it in the budget this month, or do you have to wait till next month? So you give yourself that simple yes or no answer. If it's a yes, you can keep moving forward into R. Is it reasonable? How reasonable is it that what you're saying you're going to do can be done at this time? So go back to your wheel and take a holistic view of this. Don't overwhelm yourself. If you want to run a marathon, but also you're noticing that family and friends is at a 2 and you want to spend your extra time spending time with your family and friends, maybe right now isn't the perfect time to start training to run a marathon. And then we go into time oriented. By when exactly will you complete this first step? So, okay, by Friday, I'm going to go to the store and I'm going to get some running shoes. Once you complete that first micro goal, you're already building that momentum of confidence. So then you can go into the next micro goal. Okay, what's the next step? And then you can go through this whole process again. So this is a great tool to use if you're trying to get those goals accomplished. Next, in regards to how we can make some changes, is affirmations. So some of you may have already heard of affirmations, but it's a tool that we can use, especially once we've given ourselves that permission to want what we want. Affirmations can help us create more confidence to continue taking action towards the goals that we do have. They can be verbal or they can be written, so you can say them out loud, you can write them down, you can put little sticky notes on your mirror, you can write on your mirror with your lipstick, anything that you want to do to have them so that you can connect to your values and the goals that you want to achieve. And the definition of affirmation is the action or process of affirming something or being affirmed, and emotional support or encouragement. So, for example, if your goal is to increase the number of personal development, one goal you could have is reading more books. So your affirmation and goal for that matter could be, I read one new book a month. It's a matter of fact. It's not, I'm going to read it, because then you're pushing it off still in your mind. It's you do read one new book a month. If you are a Christian like myself and are wanting to increase your spiritual awareness number on your wheel of life, one of my favorite affirmations when I'm seeking Jesus is to simply say, I am the fruit of the Spirit, and I immediately feel closer to him. If you're trying to increase your wheel number of family and parenting, and your goal is to spend more time with your family, an affirmation could be, I am trying new hobbies with my children on the weekends. This one has helped me so much this past year, and that affirmation is, I am debt-free. I've been saying this for about a year now because my big goal is to obviously get out of debt. No one likes to be in debt. And although I am still in school debt, because as we know, we can't get out of debt overnight unless we hit the lottery, but even if we do, we're going to be paying a ton of taxes. So who knows? But by saying this affirmation, it has helped me subconsciously take action in my day-to-day life that helps me stay out of debt. So when I'm driving through town on the way home and I see the cafe that I love that has my favorite lavender latte, I don't think I need to stop and get that, because subconsciously I've been telling myself I'm debt-free. So my body just naturally takes action to say, no, I'm going to go home and make a coffee instead. Elise, I know that you used affirmations before. How did you use them?
Yes, I love affirmations and I love writing them down. So when I was becoming a financial advisor, we had this big test called the Series 7, and it's basically like the MCAT for med school. It's hours and hours and hours of studying. And I was at home studying all day, every day. And so I went around my house and made all these bright colored cards that said, I passed the Series 7. And I put them, on my milk container. I put them in the bathroom, on the mirror. I put them in my car on the little dashboard that comes down. So I saw it all day, every day. And I ended up passing because we're here now. But I really just having that positive mindset and reading it and saying it out loud to myself really helped.
Ah, amazing. Yes, I love that. Affirmations, I truly think, help you be intentional about the actions that you're taking to reach your goals. They affirm that the actions you are taking are in alignment with your word of the year and your values. They give you emotional support to continue to give yourself that permission you've already given yourself to want what you want. So these are just some ways to make changes in your life, to balance out your wheel and to live true to your word of the year that you chose. Remember that you are a holistic woman, human being. Everything is connected and everything also changes. The numbers on your wheel next month may be different than what they are today. So just remember to just give yourself permission to go with the flow of the changes, and don't be afraid to take inventory of your life in order for you to keep making decisions and living in the light of what your word of the year is. So yeah, if you have any questions, make sure to save them to the end of the slide, but I'm going to give it back over to Elise and Holly.
Great. Thank you so much, Nicole. So we're going to work on that second exercise now, and that is the Wheel of Finance. So pull out that sheet if you printed it out, or just flip to a new piece of paper. And looking at the wheel, use that same word of the year, but look at these columns now and rate yourself on each area of the Wheel of Finance. So there's income, financial planning, organization, budgeting, all these different little things that make up our finances. So take a couple minutes and just fill that out. You'll notice at the bottom of the page, there's a place to put some financial goals. You don't need to fill that out now. That's going to come up in a couple slides. So just focus on the wheel for right now. And you can continue filling it out as we go. We're going to just keep moving forward and talk about it. So follow along.
Okay, so as you're working on the Wheel of Finance, I'm going to just go into how to be intentional with your finances in 2023. So let's just start with the basics. Step one, you've got to look at them. You have to know your finances. If you're going to be intentional with your finances, there are a few just basic questions that you have got to be able to answer. So first, start off with just printing your bank statements and credit card statements, and make sure you know how much are you making monthly. Do you know how much you're even spending monthly? Or do you look at your app and go, I'm in the positives, we're good? That's not what we need to do. You need to know a good idea of how much you're spending on a regular basis. If you happen not to know, then now is the time to start. So in order to be intentional with your finances in 2023, it's as simple as knowing what's coming into your bank account and what's going out of your bank account. And as you start to do this, if you find yourself in a situation where there's always more money going out than in, then you have a couple of options. So you can either get another job, which is not always fun to think about, but as women, how many women do you know that side hustles? How many people do you know that do like the, I know the sublimations, like women are the queen of side hustles. And so there are options like that. Or you can do something that's probably not as much fun as cricketing, which is creating a budget. And here are some fun statistics that are regarding a budget, which, by the way, I can relate to these. So 57% of millennials dread making a financial budget for themselves. In fact, they would basically rather do anything else. So 1 in 3 would rather clean their bathroom than check their savings account. 1 in 4 would rather spend an hour with their ex-significant other than to create a budget. And 1 in 4 would rather run a 5K on Thanksgiving than cut back on spending. So while we are not going to go into detail about budgets, because that's a whole other long conversation, it is important for you to have some type of budget. And again, there can be a lot discussed about budgets. And just to help keep us on track today, we won't be going into all the details, but be looking out for another webinar that has details about budgets.
And I just want to throw in, Holly and I talk about this all the time, but like as financial advisors, everyone's like, oh, you must be so good with your money. I'm like, no, I need a budget too.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We're human and we're learning too. So, all right. So step two is where we're going to utilize the bottom of the sheet there and create some financial goals. So you can do that on the space provided under the financial wheel, or you can do this later on your own after you've had time to reflect. Maybe you want to do it later tonight or over the weekend when you really have some time to think about what you want your financial goals to be for the year. But before we make a goal, I'm going to just break down a simple rule of thumb for breaking up your paycheck. That'll maybe help you get some numbers going when you start making some goals for yourself. So when looking at your paycheck that comes into your bank every month, there's a 50-30-20 rule that we suggest following. So 50% of your paycheck should automatically just be set aside for necessities. So that's rent. If you own a house, it's paying into your mortgage, it's utilities, gas, grocery store, it's all those things that you need to live, not the exciting stuff. And then about 30% you should be setting aside for fun stuff, eating out, travel, gym memberships, anything that kind of brings your life that little extra joy. And then 20% should be set aside for savings. And I just want to clarify, savings doesn't necessarily just mean your savings account at the bank. It can be what you're contributing to a 401k or an IRA through your work. That can definitely count. So maybe it's automatically getting pulled from your paycheck, so you don't see it every month, but you definitely should be proud of that because that's a great contribution. So just like Nicole walked you through, we want these goals you're creating to be SMART. So that's that acronym: specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. So remember with finances, it's really good to start slow because if you've never set any financial goals, this is going to shock your system. So we want to start really small. Don't make a goal that'll set yourself up for failure, such as saving 80% of your paycheck every week. Be realistic, right? We don't want this to follow the course of a failed diet. We've all done that before, right? We can get so extreme and we go on this crazy diet where all we can eat is green beans for a month. And it's impossible to stick to. And in a moment of weakness, which I have done, I go to the grocery store and I buy a pint of ice cream and I eat the whole thing in one sitting. And then I feel horrible. And then I give up on the diet completely, right? Because I feel so bad about my one failure that now I'm kind of over the whole thing. So financial goals can follow the same path if we're not careful. One big shopping spree at Lululemon, and we're already ready to quit all the goals we made for the year. So start slow and progress over time. Slow and steady wins the race. Holly, Nicole, do you have any good financial goals you want to share for the year?
Nicole, you go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm also getting married this year, and my fiance and I decided that we were going to get a credit card to put all of our wedding expenses on so that hopefully we can get points to pay for our honeymoon. But we're also putting other big purchases on the credit card. And so I'm just being really diligent about making sure to not go crazy with the credit card just because I have it now, and making sure that we're not buying things if we don't actually have the money in our bank account right now to pay for them, because I'm making sure to just pay it off right as I buy stuff so that I'm getting the points, but also not paying interest or letting it add up. So just being really diligent about that. I have an Excel sheet where I'm just keeping track of everything. So that's my goal this year, is to just, I guess, not go crazy with our new credit card.
That great point right there. So my goal is to remind myself, just because it's on sale doesn't mean that I have to buy it. And let me tell you ladies, I was rocking this goal. And then about July or January 15th happened, or maybe around the 10th, and Christmas decor went 75% off. And I found wrapping paper for 20 cents a roll. And so I didn't just buy like one roll. I had like bought it all. And I was so excited. In the end, it probably wasn't more than just a couple of dollars. But I didn't need any of it. I had a full tub at my house. So again, as a financial advisor, like we still make these mistakes too. So give yourself grace and yeah, don't overspend like the way I have clearly trying to bring myself.
Yeah, don't follow Holly as an example. Even though I'm sure you're probably gonna save money in the long run, but you'll have the same wrapping paper for the next 10
like 10 years.
All right, moving into step 3, Holly, take it away.
Okay, so step 3 of this process, it's going to be a time to just tidy it up. So you have looked at your finances, you kind of know what's coming in and out. So in the last step, we are going to go through and just see what we need, what we don't need. I don't know if any of you watched the show on Netflix that has Marie Kondo in it. And if you haven't, let me just tell you what it's like. I feel like I need a little bit of her in my life. So she is basically the queen of decluttering homes. And her main phrase as she's decluttering these homes is, does this item bring you joy? And if it doesn't, then it's got to go. And if it does, then you get to keep it. So as you're reviewing your finances, when you look at your discretionary spending, because we're probably not going to look at our electrical bills or water bills and define if that brings us joy, but like our fun items, you ask yourself, does that wrapping paper or whatever it is bring you joy? And if it doesn't, then you don't need to purchase it. And make sure, instead of joy, make sure it aligns with your word of the year. For example, if my word of the year was healthy, then I would not be eating at McDonald's and Sonic like I clearly do on a regular basis. So that is why I did not choose the word healthy, because I know that my spending does not align up with that word. So again, go through once a quarter, check your bank statements, check your credit card statements, whatever you use. And it doesn't have to be time consuming. Just quickly review it and see if there's anything that stands out. But again, you have to actually look at your statements to see if there's something that's not fitting. One thing that I found, because I actually had to do this process myself to see that it helps. I started looking at my automatic withdrawals that came out on a regular basis, because they hit your account and you forget that it even does. Super convenient. And one of the areas that I looked at is my Roku subscriptions. So without even realizing it, I had Disney for the kids, which by the way, they never watched, Netflix, Hulu, Peacock, and ESPN. And I had actually canceled my DirecTV so I could have Roku subscriptions because they were cheaper. But in the end, I had so many of them, I was not saving any money. So be sure and make sure that you're utilizing everything that's on these automatic withdrawals. And another thing I ended up canceling was my gym membership, because I know, looking at my schedule in the next 2 to 3 months, I'm not going to be going to the gym. And let me tell you, I found it very inconvenient and hard to just pick up the phone and go, please cancel my gym membership. Like, I don't know why, it is just the inconvenience of it. But in order to save money, in order to be intentional with your money, it takes a little bit of time and a little bit of inconveniences to do that.
Totally. All righty.
All right. So in summary, I'm just going to quickly review the steps. You've got to look at your finances, even though this may not exactly be fun. You've got to create financial spending and goals, and you've got to tidy up. And I'm hoping that these 3 steps will help you be able to reach the goals that you've worked out, and will help that your wheel of finances will start to align to where they need to be.
Definitely. All right. So you're probably asking yourself now, what's next? Well, we've set all these great goals and we're going to reach them, and 2023 is going to be our year. But the next step is also, once you've set those goals and you want to go further, reach out to Holly or myself and start the conversation about growing your wealth. Together, we can look look at what you're doing currently and see how we can build upon it to reach your big, audacious goals. When considering reaching out to us, let me tell you this: we are not your average financial advisors. We're cool advisors. We work with clients all over the US and even internationally. Both of us utilize Zoom, not just for out-of-town clients, but I often use it for parents with young kids or people really busy in their career. And the only time they can meet at 7 is after the kids have eaten dinner and are doing their own thing. And we make that happen. So we really try to utilize technology so you can communicate with us more efficiently. We text, we do online booking. We love connecting with potential clients via social media. So we're really hip and on it, and we try to make it easy for you. So also keep in mind, what type of accounts do we work with? All of the accounts. It can be old retirement accounts from your previous employers. It can be IRAs, beneficiary IRAs, Roth IRAs, 401ks. If you're a business owner, we love to help set up retirement accounts for you and your employees. Non-retirement savings for maybe a house or a big project. And we do estate planning and financial planning. So basically, we're just saying we're here. Even if you don't want to work with us and you just want to talk about money, we do that too. So we're really a great resource if you ever want to learn more about your finances and what you should be doing or not doing.
Okay, so that is pretty well the end of the presentation, but we want to take time to answer any questions. And again, there's due to compliance, you're not able to type in questions. It will have to be a verbal Q&A. As I mentioned earlier, if you were not logged on, we will be giving you our contact information. And if you don't want to speak up, if you'd rather email, text, whatever, reach out through social media, whatever is most convenient for you. We will be providing you all that contact information. So with that being said, is there any questions?
And feel free to raise your hand. We'll also just be sticking around. I know a lot of people are on their lunch break, so if you need to hop off, you can send us a question via email. Otherwise, we're going to be here for about 10 more minutes after the presentation if you want to wait a while and ask your question later. For right now, since there's no questions, we're just going to roll through to the contact info, Holly.
Okay. So there's several different ways to contact us. We want to make sure that you have contact information for Elise and I, and obviously for Nicole, because she had such great things to say today. We really appreciate her taking the time to join us. Do not think that you have to write this down, because we will be sending a follow-up email that has all the information on. And again, even if you want to just follow us on social media, are more than happy to connect with you. However, while we are financial advisors and we would love to help you with your financial investments, we are also going to be happy to just be your cheerleader too. And I also am going to have to put a plug in there. Elise and I pair up with our friend Larry, and we have a podcast series and YouTube videos called Investing Advice Roundtable. So if you want to check those out, that also contains some great financial advice and tips and tricks in them.
All right. It looks like we have a question. Let me see if I can figure out how to do this. Oh. I don't know. You know, technology is pretty hard. Oh, it's gone. Okay. Well, we'll just keep moving forward to the really fun slide disclosures. We have to put this because we work in the finance industry, but you don't have to read it, but keep a lookout in your emails for future topics. And we're always looking for new topics that you want to cover. So if you have anything specific that you'd like to see more in advance, feel free to email us, and we'd love to put it in rotation. So we're going to have 3 more of these webinars throughout the year. So keep a lookout for more information, and just thank you guys so much for watching. We really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Elise and Holly. This was so much fun. And if anybody has any questions, feel free to email me. You can message me on Instagram if you want. So yeah, I look forward to hearing from anybody that has any questions.
Yeah, and we had Nicole's contact, but if for some reason you don't get it, we're going to send out this slide via email as well. We're going to send out a recording of this webinar if you want to forward it to anyone or rewatch it, all that good stuff. So yeah, and we'll just hang out for a while.
Otherwise, you're free to go if you want.
Yeah, get out of here. Go back to work.
Mm.
We were right at an hour. I'm very proud of us.
Yeah, we did good. That was perfect lunch
Mhm.
hour. They have 2 minutes to go use the restroom before they Oh. Which is me, because I have the tiniest bladder in the world.
All right. Gonna get rid of everything. Okay. I'll work on the Q&A because I don't know how that works.
Yeah,
I
I
like tried to unmute and it just wasn't working.
Yeah,
Did you
there's
take down their names?
something in the settings. But I think it was your mom, right?
Yeah,
Well, that's good.
so it's fine.
There you go.
You don't have to get in touch with her.
I want to know what she was going to ask, though.
I know. I was like, it seems like it would have been supportive.
Yeah. Well, how do you guys